touches me deep. Your heart is my temple. Your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? We are live. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on a Tuesday night as we do on the podcast. We are truly grateful to be here, and we are grateful that you are here with us. There's a lot to talk about. We got the Quiet on Set documentary dropped with a bunch of drama. We got the whole Bloodbath situation, TikTok getting banned. And we got this Ye interview that we're going to jump into a little bit and some other stuff, but you're here with us. Make sure you hit that like button, share the video. You are watching Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
Young Lion TV, like we do every Tuesday night. This is when we go live for our official live stream / podcast that we do, streaming live on Facebook, on Twitter, on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, and we were on Instagram, but not tonight, so we'll get that straightened out. But thank you to everybody who's watching right now. We appreciate each and every one of you. I see you guys in the chat already. Shout out to the Patreon members who've been chiming in. I see you guys. I see Donnie watching. Okay.
My bad.
Yeah, and I see we got Marsha Simpson said, "Who plays the music you share here? They are so great." Well, thank you. That is actually our band. The band name of the band is Jatan, and that was our song called Release, which is on Spotify, on YouTube, Amazon, Apple Music, all that stuff. You can go stream that song. It's called Release. We actually just passed 1,000 streams on that song. Shout out to the band and all the guys that we write with. Also, I see Courtney in the building. That is one of our Patreon members. Shout out to Jess, Moan's wife. Shout out to everybody who is in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button, share the video, because the algorithm does not like what we talk about here. If you've seen any of our clips, if you've seen any of our live streams, you know that we don't get any favor from the algorithm. We get shadow banned all across the board on every single platform. So we need you guys to share the videos. That's the only way these clips have been going viral, because people were sharing them. That last clip that went viral has been shared over 90,000 times. It's got 3.5 million views right now. And that was just a video about the Red Cross and about them asking a screening question about if you've been vaccinated. And people, it's such a hot topic that people are kind of going crazy in the comments about it. My bad, Jake. I got you. But yeah, speaking of that, I got shout out to people that are in the building with me right now. I got my brother. He is, in fact, the coolest Asian in the podcast realm. He's got the Young Lion T-shirt on. And he's my brother, man. And we love him. He is Mr. Simone Chang.
With the backwards hat.
And forever.
Forever what?
Wear my hat backwards. When I'm 80,
Yeah.
I'm going to wear my hat backwards.
That's right, man. You're always going to be the back. That's why you're the coolest Asian in the podcast game. And then we got my big brother. What?
No, I was going to say, when you're 80, it's not going to be like when people are 80 now, because
he's going to be like the 80-year-old guy who's still rocking the 1980s haircut. No. So for this generation, it would be the 80s guy who's still rocking the 1960s style. We see them all the time. Yeah. Like the guys who were popular in the 50s, when they wear their hair, you can tell they're still in the music business. They got them. That's going to be Moon with his backwards
They
hat.
got like the hairspray.
Yeah, the hair hair. It's kind of like curly, dyed.
It's like, their hair is gray, but they dye it black.
Yes. But keeping it moving, we got my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother. He is the preacher, the teacher, the people reacher, Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans III, sitting there with the Young Lion cap on.
Young Lions.
And I gotta introduce myself. I am the navigator of the ship, navigating these podcast waters, which we go through every Tuesday afternoon. And I'm also the every light skinned person that you know or family member that you may have. Yes, I look like them. I am Jamie Evans.
Even though he doesn't.
And I like your hat, dude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Nice little hat.
So
right
this
there.
right here is the brand new merch from our band. If you know about our song "Grateful," that has been streaming like crazy. We just dropped the music video for that song that was shot completely in South Africa, documenting our trip there when we were on tour. And this is the merch style that was designed by Jake. Actually, well, the idea was to use just a Grateful font. Jake found the font that we were going to use, and then we put it together.
I like it.
These are available. We got hoodies, hats, towel. We got all kind of stuff available with this design.
I'm glad he vouched and advocated for just the plain.
That was your idea initially?
No, our idea. We threw it out the two separate
colors,
I
kind of like
didn't-
the Young Lion.
right.
Yeah.
But I was like,
It didn't look good when
Yeah.
when we tried it. So I
I like the cursive and I like the plain.
Yeah.
Which I wanted to go that route, so I'm like, okay.
You
Well,
know,
that's what I had in mind from the beginning.
and the funny thing, the name of the font is Brother Signature, which
What?
is interesting. Yeah,
That is interesting.
yeah.
That's
so
cool.
Marsha Glitcher Simpson wants to know, do you record your music?
yes, we do record our own music. We actually have a studio not far from here. This is our podcast studio, but we have a music studio where we rehearse and we record not far from here in South Jersey, where we do all of our music ourselves. We are fully independent record label and artists. Been doing it for over 20 years and playing music with these guys. We just did a show at Philly in the City Winery, and we got some more stuff coming up. But if you want to find out more, you can go to our website, which is jataun.com, JUTAUN.com, and all of our stuff is up on there. And then that lady that just talked about your question, we got to give her a shout out as well. That is, not only is she the best producer in the world, she is our mother, and we love her. She's Miss Angeli Lopez.
Hi, Mom.
She is the only. I'm going to put this out there. She is the only self-taught boomer podcast producer in the game. I'm just going to put
go.
that out there.
Let's go.
I'm going to put that out there.
Need help? What do you
You're
need?
doing an amazing job.
Yeah, she is.
The fact that you're not scared, because a lot of people, even our age, they're scared of technology.
Yeah.
So kudos.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what's funny is Rachel actually texted me and just asked me like, how's your mom been doing with the podcast? And I was like, she's doing great. She's got all the button pushing down. There's a couple of
mistakes
glitches
sometimes,
here and there,
When-
but it's fine.
Only when you're so deep into the conversation that you forget
That's
to
the
switch
part.
screens.
Get to it.
And then me and Jake's giving you the eye like,
No, right?
Yeah. Courtney said, "Mom is the best."
Aw, thank you, Courtney.
Jess said, "Hey guys." Yeah. So again, if you guys want to support what we do, because the algorithm doesn't support us, we need you guys to share the video, hit the like button, hit those notification bells, hit the rumble button, wherever you're at. Shout out to our other young lions who are not live with us right now. Stan, our black Batman, Stan Golden, and our half black, half Indian with the Spanish last name, Mr. James Garcia. They're both not here, but I got to give a crowd clap to them. They're both busy right now, but we do miss them in the den, in the lion's den. But yeah, if you want to support our cause, for those that don't know, if this is your first time here, this is a podcast that focuses on our journey in life as we've grown up, especially being in the music business as long as we have, and traveled the world and seen a lot of things. We've gained a lot of perspective as men, as fathers, as husbands, as brothers, and also as followers of Jesus. So all of this influences the way we see things, the way we've learned to escape certain habits and certain things that we've been victim to throughout the years. So we talk about those things, and we talk about the things that we've seen and things that we see happening now, just to kind of shed light to younger people that may be watching this, or just to show men who can have these type of conversations and hash out ideas, iron sharpen iron type of thing. So if that's something that you think you can get behind and you want to support, you can go on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/youngliontv. And for as little as $3 a month, you can become a member over there and join the Pride and really get involved with what we're doing, help us keep this thing going and help us growing it, because we want to continue to build out the Pride of the Young Lions and kind of share what this community is with the world and how we're trying to change culture and kind of make it align more with the values that we want to see out there in the world and stop pushing this degeneracy that we see every day.
I was watching something and it was interesting. They were talking about, just to go along with this, they were talking about 3 levels of like how you grow or you don't grow, right? So you can stay a child, and children will always want things, right? Or you can grow up a little bit, which is the adolescence period, and it changes from things to experiences. You want experiences, right? But where you want to go is you want to get to the place of responsibilities. And in responsibilities, you're now caring for other people.
Right.
And that changes the experience. Right. And it changes the things you want.
So when you're a child, you seek things, you seek trinkets, toys, you seek and then you're always looking for the next one.
You're looking for the next thing.
And then because
it gets old.
As an adolescent or a young man mentality, you're seeking experiences, whether it's with women, whether it's with adventure, travel. Yeah, that's right. But you always need the next one.
Yeah.
So the full culmination of that is seeking new responsibilities, because that's going to be where you're going to constantly fulfill something.
It's challenging and it's
purpose,
and it doesn't feel good. Yeah, purpose.
But not only that, it's also reciprocal, because all those other things just kind of feed nothing. But
they feed you, but you become a black hole. You're like a black hole.
You're right. You're just sucking in these experiences, these things. But if you constantly seek new responsibilities, that's going to build up others, build other things, build community, build ideas, all kind of things, which advance our culture, our civilization. Yeah.
Those 2 other places, you're a consumer. But the other places, you're a provider.
That's crazy.
I mean, when you get to that place of like adulthood, you become a provider and a protector. That's interesting.
So you become a resource instead of a leech.
Yeah, you become a creator.
Yeah,
in a way.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
because we were just talking about that last week when we were talking about marketing. We were talking about the whole Edward Bernays, Sigmund Freud thing, and how his idea, Edward Bernays pushed the idea that there was an elite class of people that were meant to be, the ones who attained the knowledge to then just use the consumers as their cattle, basically.
Right.
And that's where you get marketing from. That's where you get the idea of a consumer base, where it's okay. It's ethically okay to just trick people into buying a product, no matter what tactics you use, whether it's, manipulating a scientific study so that you can get people to buy cereal. Just give an example of that real quick, like cornflakes. The story behind that was they did a study showing that a balanced breakfast is better for you than not a balanced breakfast. But how they got scientists to buy onto that study was they went to India to like people that were malnourished, and they said, okay, if they don't eat anything or they eat cornflakes, which one is better?
Right. And only for a certain period of time.
Right.
Because over a longer period of time, you're going to see
exactly
the difference.
So scientists, of course, signed off on the fact that eating the cornflakes was better. So then you can take that to the public and say, 9 out of 10 nutritionists agree that having cornflakes with your breakfast is part of a balanced diet, and
how to lie with statistics.
Exactly. And then that became how they sold these brands to the masses, and they used that tactic over and over and over again. So, that's the, I see Michael Hansberry in the comments. What's up, bro?
What's up, Hans?
He said, what's up, fellas?
On top of, using No, cornflakes wasn't. I'm thinking about Wheaties.
Wheaties
Wheaties was the one they use
used
athletes on.
yeah. Which is another form of
same.
manipulation. It's just stamp some people that are famous and make it seem like, oh, this is how they got athletic because they eat Wheaties. Like Michael Jordan, like he was really eating Wheaties. That's why he's that good at basketball.
Yeah. So it's all under the guise. See, it's interesting because it looks like you care.
Yeah.
It looks like you
want to help people.
You want to help people.
Yeah.
You want to be responsible for people. You know, help those who can't help themselves.
Yeah.
But you're really only helping yourself.
Right.
You're really only feeding yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not to that. When you want to help somebody, you're actually giving up something.
And I think for him, it was feeding his ego. Because I've seen many interviews of him. There's even like later interviews when he was in his 80s. Edward Bernays. Yeah. When he was in his 80s and 90s, he was on like David Letterman. He was on late night TV, like bragging about his campaigns and how he tricked people. Like he saw it as a badge of honor. I remember him using the women during, I think it was the 1930s, how he got women, the cigarette brands wanted to expand their market into women because women did not smoke. So he decided to do this whole campaign where he tied that to women's liberation. Yeah. Where it was like only the liberated women were strong enough to go out in public and smoke cigarettes. And he did a whole thing during like one of the biggest parades of the year where all of these women were paid to be on this float smoking cigarettes and looking like liberated. And it started this whole trend.
Witchcraft, man.
Exactly. It's all manipulation.
Wizardry.
Yep. But it's all because a brand wanted to sell something, you know. So, yeah, that's the story of that stuff. But let's get into some stuff for today. So the first thing I want to get into, let me see. We're going to get into the quiet on set thing. But before we get to that, I got to talk about this Bloodbath situation. You guys hear about this?
It's just another example.
This is the media
just taking something and just running with it.
This is very fine people all over again.
Yes.
So this over the weekend, this thing went crazy, and I thought it was going to die down because it was debunked so fast. But come Monday morning, they went full steam ahead with all the talk shows, all the publications. I'm gonna show you guys. So Trump was speaking about the auto industry. I think this was like Friday or Saturday. This is the clip, the full context of the clip of what he said right here. And it's only a minute long. Okay, now you don't want to work.
Yeah, they just totally took one thing that he said that they've said numerous times.
Well, they
used that word numerous.
First of all, they associated it with something that had nothing. Well, let's play it.
They want to do this all electric nonsense where the cars don't go far, they cost too much, and they're all made in China. And the head of the United Auto Workers never probably shook hands with a Republican before. They're destroying. You know, Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
So
he's talking about the automotive.
You see the context of what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about, and this is a terminology that people use all the time when it comes to any type of situation where things go bad. People will say it's going to be a bloodbath. You know, this is common knowledge. But what do you think the media clipped out?
Bloodbath. It's gonna.
If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the country. So, that ran on all the shows. I just want to show you guys. Pull this up, Mom. I just want to show you just from Googling bloodbath, right? And all of the news articles. Why exaggerating Trump's bloodbath remark only helps him. Well, that's one from LA Times. But look at the rest of them. Fallout continues over Trump's bloodbath remark at Ohio rally. Trump says there will be a bloodbath if he isn't reelected. C-SPAN. Former President Trump campaign. That's not even about it. PBS. Trump warns of bloodbath if he isn't reelected. The Independent. Trump says U.S. will see economic bloodbath. Well, that one's kind of fair. Fortune. China's EV. Blah, blah, blah. Bloodbath at RNC, Trump team slashes staff. But I saw all of these articles, all of these people reporting that Trump says there'll be a bloodbath if I'm not elected.
Why they changed stuff?
They're
Crazy.
their
Did you say
narrative
why they change
is
stuff?
I said the way they changed it
Yeah.
to make it for their benefit and not for Trump didn't say it like that.
I mean,
Go ahead, Jake.
to me, it reminds me of when. All right, this happened. I hate when I say this because then people get offended, but to me, women do this more than men.
Do what?
when you're in arguments or you're like talking about something,
They latch on to one thing you said.
So what you're saying is,
right.
like they turn it around.
Well,
and then you're like,
that's how
hold
Jordan
on,
Peterson got popular.
Yeah.
Remember, because that one journalist kept saying, "So what you're saying is,
Yeah. Especially when
It was like that dating thing that I sent you guys.
Yes.
Yo, it was so
Yes.
funny to me.
And it reminded me of having conversations with Mom, actually. Like sometimes you have like text or with a guy or somebody you're dating or something, and I'm like, and then
Dating anybody.
no, he's saying
Going out on a date, whatever.
when you'll
Setting up a date.
recap your date or something with us, sometimes you'll read into certain things and we have to be like, Mom, but I don't know, that didn't sound,
right. Like you're reading into it too much. Nobody can see it, but she's rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, don't we have to do that sometimes? Right? Because sometimes women can read into things a little more.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of that. But they take it to an extreme. This is nefarious.
Yeah.
In nature.
Oh, they're doing it on purpose.
I'm not
This is
saying
by design.
women are not. I'm not saying that. I think it's more innocent. A lot of times when women do it, they don't realize they do it. But this is strategic.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
I can imagine the view on that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say, please, people, do your own research. Do not listen to what they tell you.
Yeah.
Go and look at the context.
But
because they think you're stupid.
Yeah.
They think you're stupid.
But dude, I will say on that, the do your own research thing, is that when you do your own research, you got to be willing to find the truth.
Yeah.
Because how many people do their own research, but they're just trying to justify their own feelings?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that come out of yourself and look at the whole entire thing, and take your emotions out of it.
Right. But that's why I brought up the thing with the women thing, because sometimes you can say like, don't you think that he meant this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it becomes, you know what? You're right. Instead of like, hold up, did he say that?
You're right.
Like
You're reading into
it, right? So you gotta check yourself. You gotta look at yourself. Like, am I reading into this? What is he really trying to say? I want to know the intention of your heart. Like, to me, in marriage, that's so important, right? Like, communication.
Yeah.
If you're saying something and somebody else is projecting their own perception on it, right there, there's a miscommunication.
Absolutely. But I want to stick on the fact of how manipulating with a soundbite, because that's what this is. This is more of like not them reading into it, them specifically taking a section of it that is a soundbite and using it to push an agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
But my point is that most people who will be manipulated are the ones who don't know how to get past the reading into it.
Right.
They don't know how to look at it and say, hold up,
Yeah.
let me not just read into this.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Or let me not
Go-
project my own emotion
Right.
onto
Right.
what is being said here. Let me look at the full context.
Right. You're
Yeah.
listening to a soundbite and it's
Yeah.
going to make you feel a certain way
Right.
if you're, you already don't like him or whatever
Yeah.
like that. What I'm saying is go and look
Look
at
at the full context.
The full context
Yeah.
and go look at the speech. See what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because they do think you're stupid.
And
They-
that might wake you up to the fact that they're lying to you all the time.
Yes.
And you might be able to say,
And-
like, wait, why? But why are they making it seem like he said something else?
Right. And I feel like I from seeing stuff and listen to people talk, even in real life, like not just the videos, people are waking up.
Yeah.
A
lot more people are.
A lot more people are waking up to
And I think
media lying.
I
to,
think social media, Twitter, or the fact that Elon bought X, has a lot to do with that. And I also think TikTok has a lot to do with that because there is a lot of TikTok started out as a lot of nonsense, but it's kind of been shifted into a lot more people doing research on there now.
Yeah.
And there is a lot more truth tellers on TikTok now. Like we're on there. Some of our videos go crazy on there. So but I honestly think that this ban is at a time where they feel like they don't have control over the narrative. This ban is like being pushed. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but let me show you. So Monday morning, first thing Monday morning, Joe Biden's campaign drops this.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. And it's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Jews will not replace us.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'll be a lot of pardons and commutations of January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
You see this, dude?
Yo,
I mean, it makes me upset. Like, I don't want to watch it.
they just straight up lie.
you see, it makes you upset.
They
That's what
straight
I'm saying.
up lie, man.
But the thing to me is
All this stuff reminds me of that song you wrote,
which one?
Release.
Yeah. That's the one that played at the beginning. But I will say this. So many people are seeing through this nonsense.
They
now.
are.
Like
Yeah.
because it's like really, dude, like first of all, not only the fact that like this is nonsense, but the other fact is like they have no other message. Like literally at the end it just says stop Trump. Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden, stop Trump.
Yeah.
Like that's all they can ask their base to do anymore.
Listen,
It's like
You're doing a disservice. You're doing a disservice.
yeah.
That is making Trump more powerful because people are seeing that they can just look up the clip. There are fine people on both sides. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and
Yeah.
white supremacists. They should be condemned totally.
Yeah.
He literally says
Those
that.
were the words that he said after that, right? And the words that he said before the bloodbath was, "We just played it," so we know that they're so. But their message in this video is, and it's going to reach a certain amount of people that just have TDS, of course. Their message is Trump is so evil. He's gonna make another January 6th and people are gonna be killed and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? White supremacists are gonna come for everybody if Trump is reelected. So we got to stop him. That's all they can say.
So
But the
dishonest.
people that are just watching the news, CBS. I mean, they're still gonna be asleep.
But let me tell you something. The amount of people that is becoming so small. It's literally like a demographic of 60-year-olds to 80-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like that's all they have left as a base.
This worked, or might have worked the first time around
Yeah.
when Biden was, I'm going to put air quotes around elected, because, that there's a whole nother thing. We could go into that. But now we've had almost 4 years of Biden,
Yeah.
and it's like...
It's like
It's obvious,
And
to
we've
most
got to
people.
watch him in the public eye just deteriorate mentally. Like
Yeah.
people can't even anyone that voted. Like I know people that you couldn't say nothing about Biden that are now like, okay, like what's happening?
It's
Like,
embarrassing.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael Hansberry. He said, and sadly, Trump haters will run with it. They sure will. They sure will. I mean, let's talk about the media. Let's show this clip from Morning Joe Scarborough on MSNBC. Basically just on this unhinged rant after people started showing, someone called him out on Twitter and showed the full clip, and this was his response.
He's talking about a bloodbath for America. It's laid out in the terms of it, and these idiots on Twitter, these idiots on cable news, these idiots on Sunday shows going, well, presidents, he was talking only about the auto industry, and this is one more. It's just bullshit. Let me say that at 6:15 a.m. It's just bullshit. He knew what he was doing. We're not stupid. Americans aren't stupid. He was talking about a bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means a bloodbath. And when he finishes by saying, and that's just going to be the least of it, seriously, these people may be stupid. We're not.
Wow.
Literally the opposite of everything you said.
Yo, there's a couple clips going around of a whole bunch of them saying bloodbath.
Oh, you don't think I have that clip ready to go?
Hey, sorry.
You don't think I have that clip ready to go, brother? Since you mentioned it, let's pull it up. This video is 2 straight minutes of the media saying bloodbath over and over again.
But as Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC,
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath.
be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough.
Trump has left a lot of corpses in his wake. I mean, we can count the bodies.
As part of the, quote, MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath.
Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled A Biden Bloodbath.
2018 midterms, you can bet that they 100% are fearing a slaughter. In fact, the word bloodbath and massacre come up frequently.
The Republican Party will be destroyed. It's going to be a bloodbath.
There's going to be a bloodbath one way or the other.
Bloodbath for Bernie Sanders. It's been a bloodbath there, shaping up to be a bloodbath.
You get the idea. It goes on for another minute and 12 seconds. Like,
you know what they all meant, guys.
Come on, guys.
They all mean civil
war. Yeah. Civil war.
That's what they all mean.
And then I'm gonna show one more clip because this is from the evil Dark Queen herself. Basically, you giving you the political play-by-play of what they do to create these antics in the media.
Demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest.
And it looks like we've got multiple flags on the play here.
Because he's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath? There's something wrong here.
Unnecessary roughness.
And then you merchandise it. They see it's reported in the press that this, and this, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic.
She's laying it out right there. She's laying it out right there. This is what they do over and over and over again.
They lie to you.
You know what's funny is like Liz started watching Scandal recently. We've never watched this show, right? She started watching Scandal just out of boredom. And it's a political show about, I mean, of course, like most people focused on the relationship between who's the main character? What's her name? Kerry Washington and the president at the time. They're having this affair or whatever. Okay. So that's what the scandal is about, how she cleans up scandals in Washington, D.C. But if you really watch that show, they're just showing you that the entire system is built like this. It's corruption. Mm-hmm. It's creating stories. It's getting people elected in false ways. Like they're telling you all of this. So to me, and I think about like so many people that watch that show that still don't have a grasp that any of this is.
Oh, that's not real life. That's not what happens in real life.
Like, it's crazy to me.
Isn't it interesting how grace, like, think about grace. And I'm not saying like grace in terms of like ability. I'm talking about the grace of a woman, like the gracefulness of a woman, right? And how beautiful that is. But you see the perversion of it, which becomes looking like grace. trying to look beautiful, right? Putting on makeup, putting on the right dress, right? Trying to appear graceful. And I think that's been the biggest issue, like with this country, is that appearance of this grace, right? And you even see in terms of women empowerment, right?
Yeah.
All these things where the feminist out of control movement right now, like it's all perversion of beauty.
Yeah.
True beauty, because true beauty is grace. It's gracefulness, right?
Yeah.
When what is more beautiful to a man than seeing how a woman submits to him? And not in a way where it's like whatever you say,
I control you.
No, in a way where she can speak to you and even negate you in a graceful way,
Right.
and bring up points, and you know what I mean, talk to you in a way where she's graceful, right? Truly graceful, because she cares about you.
Yeah.
Right? Because she wants to see you win, and she's not threatened by you.
Yeah.
That's my point. Like she's not threatened by you. But now we look at this, everything's a competition. Everything is about competition.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to win in that way, not recognizing like, no, we're in covenant.
Yeah.
We're not in competition. We're all a part of this country, right? It's not like you look at Republican versus Democrat. You look at the way it's all, we get so focused on our teams, and this whole competition, and it becomes so horrible, and it becomes ungraceful. But it becomes the one who comes out looking the best, right? Who comes out
because the bottom line is they're really not on teams.
Right.
But they use the
appearance.
team aspect to control us because they want to fundraise off of it. They want to get reelected off of it. They want to continue to have their seat of power off of the idea of teams. But they never agree on anything. Nothing can ever get done. The Congress doesn't, except for a TikTok ban. Somehow they got 80% of the vote on that. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
But we're going to get into that a little bit. But
but you see it like it's a show.
Yeah.
Right? It's actually
it's a
just
performance.
a show. It's a performance. And people get caught up in that. And they think that's where the beauty is. Think about it. Like, people are awestruck by the show. By the performance.
Yeah.
You know? We get caught up in that when it's like, oh man, it was so amazing.
It makes me think of this meme that I posted on our Instagram page. He's talking about grace, the fake appearance of grace, the country, performance, the show. I'm going to play this real quick. Pull this up, Bob, because this was a funny meme that I made. I don't know if you guys saw this. You see how they got her all dressed up? She's doing the performance. I know.
And I'm saying all because they
did that to her.
Into that.
They did that to her.
It's a
man.
shame, man.
They did that to her.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, she got the whole dress.
Yep.
She's singing it the way they want her to sing it.
Yep.
They think it's good, but you know, and it's not. There's no grace there.
Yeah.
You know. But how about the ones that they have? Because even think about Whitney Houston. Where is she now?
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
All that singing and amazing singing, but inside, well, she was struggling.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, man, that is a great point. So let's get into this TikTok ban a little bit. So let's pull up this article, Mom. So the House passes a bill that could lead to a TikTok ban if Chinese owner refuses to sell. So there's a lot of divisiveness over whether or not this bill overreaches, gives the president too much authority. I hear people arguing that it doesn't do that because the bill doesn't actually ban TikTok. It gives them, it threatens them to have to sell to an American, a governmental approved American owned entity from ByteDance because they don't want China having access to our data. But it gives the president the ability to ban it if they don't, or ban any company that is a threat in that way, if they don't sell their ownership over to an American company. So Let's see if they talk about it a little bit. So Joe Biden is saying if Congress passes the measure, he will sign it. So it still has to get passed in the Senate. It's still not passed in the Senate yet. But there was a good video of, here we go, of Rep. Massey kind of talking about why he doesn't think this is a good idea. This is Thomas Massey from Kentucky.
The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the other side is sincere, and we've not questioned that here today, and I won't question their sincerity. In fact, I think they've identified at least 3 problems that we have in America: moral decay of our society, invasion of Americans' privacy, and our competitiveness with China. But in this case, their cure is worse than the diseases. You know, there are ways to get at these root problems. We just haven't taken it upon ourselves to address those root problems with actual legislative solutions that have been put forth here in Congress. For instance, Mr. Warren Davidson's The Fourth Amendment is Not for Sale Act would put a strong stake in the ground to protect Americans' privacy, whether it's from our own government or some foreign governments. That is the kind of thing we need.
How about protecting our privacy from our own government? Like they're not, like Facebook isn't one of the worst offenders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But TikTok is the problem.
That's what I forgot about the whole Jordan Peterson thing before the hearing he had.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even watch any of that.
Yeah, it was good, dude.
Yeah, I got to see that.
It was along these lines in terms of what they're already doing in our government, how they've been spying on us, how they've been, you know, and what it can go like. We're on the verge of a way worse than what's it called? Orwell's.
Oh, George Orwell?
Yeah, what's
1984.
1984.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the verge of like a way worse scenario than that.
All right.
Warrants in the FISA program. Our government shouldn't be able to spy on Americans without a warrant, yet they are. Let's bring that to the floor and vote on it. These are the kind of cures we need, not the bill that's offered here today. The bill that's offered here today, even though I know it's offered genuinely, it could also be named the Facebook Protection and Enhancement Act. Because it's not the American people who are going to benefit most from this. It will be Facebook.
Yep.
Their stock is going to go up if this bill should pass the Senate. Now, what are some ways that we could improve this bill? Well, it should at least have a sunset.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason we're able to debate
forever?
whether FISA should have warrants in it, because it sunsets. And what have we observed? FISA's been abused. That's my concern with this TikTok ban. It will be abused. If it's just banning TikTok and ByteDance and copies of that, why does it need to be 13 pages long? And I know they say it doesn't ban it. It forces divestiture of the company. This sounds like when American companies try to do business in third world countries and a dictator says, well, you can do business here. You just got to give me your company. And now you can continue to do business. We wouldn't let another country take over Ford Motor Company for selling Ford cars in their country. Yet that's what we're wanting to do here. And again, you know, this is a cure that is worse than the disease. Who's going to be prosecuted by this bill? Is it ByteDance or TikTok? Will they be taken to court? No. I mean, they're the target of this, but how do you elicit or effect a ban on them? By prosecuting Americans.
That's another
The only
fact.
way you can
The only
ban
people who are gonna
TikTok
get in trouble are
and
the people
the
that
other
use it.
companies from being here is to say what this bill says, which is we will bring civil action. The government will bring a civil action suit against you if you so much as host them here. If you have an app store that allows them to be here, you are an American or an American company, and you will be the target of this bill. Those are the only people who can be pursued under this bill. And I know it's in order to go after TikTok, or so they say. Well, I would just close by saying that, you know, we're sitting here with phones made in China. We're wearing suits made in China. We drove cars here with chips that are made in China. And they're our foreign adversary. And by golly, we're going to do something about it.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? We're going to tell Americans they can't put a piece of software on their computer. They can't go to certain websites that the president designates. So I urge my colleagues to oppose.
So he's trying to get them to oppose the bill. Basically, he's made a good point there. Like, there's so much Chinese technology in our hands at all times. There's so many ways for them to steal data. Thinking that TikTok, like, they're trying to use that as the reason, when I think it's for other reasons. And a lot of people have been pointing that out, because when you look at the facts of what's been going on, especially during there's people that point out. Remember when I showed how that Bin Laden letter was going viral?
Yeah.
And then right after that, you look at this Israel-Palestine, the response to that, the information. And then when you look at the border crisis, people are showing information. So there's a lot of things going against the mainstream narrative that they can't control because they don't control the algorithm.
Right. So they want to get control over these things.
And how can they control the algorithm?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Facebook is controlled.
Yes. YouTube is controlled.
Yeah.
Twitter is well, Twitter's not anymore. That's another reason why they keep trying to come after Elon. But yeah, there's a bunch of people making videos showing how, like, it's the AIPAC lobby and a lot of these people influencing government that really push to get this ban. This ban.
And I will say that it's an election year, so
yeah,
you know.
But don't you think, like, part of Biden's, remember they had that whole TikToker vote for Biden campaign where they were paying these TikTokers to
Vouch for Biden.
vouch for Biden and cape for him. Don't you think they're going to lose a lot of people if they really push this ban?
I think that they are looking at all the people they're gaining from from a lot of these illegals, and I really think that they're vouching on, or they're betting on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think they're all these things are plans, right?
Yeah.
They're strategic plans in order to get control.
Right.
They're looking for ways to get control of the narrative, get control over the situation. So it not to bring peace, but to have it go their way.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
So when we're seeing all these things happen, like, okay, well, what is the point? And I think before, like, that would be a question that a lot of people would say in a kind of like dismissive way. Well, what would be the point of that? When people would talk about, like, when we would bring these things up to people that don't want to hear it, they're like, well, what would be even the point of doing that?
Why would they want to do that?
Why would they even want to do that?
Right.
Because they don't understand how far they go to stay in control, to hold things. You know, you think about, like, New York, right?
Yeah.
When you look at New York, they're holding on by a thread in terms of Democrats in that state, right?
Yeah.
I was just looking at how many people were voting in the governor election, right?
Yeah.
How many districts?
Yeah. Well, New York City is the only thing that gives them a hope and a prayer at this point.
Well, there were a few.
Buffalo, right? Like, the major cities.
There were a few, but
Syracuse.
But dude, like, they're on the verge.
Yeah.
Right. So they're seeing this stuff happen, and they're trying to figure out how can we get back control.
Maybe flood in millions of people from other countries. Maybe that could be a tactic.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few different tactics that are going on.
I feel like it's just a great big panic, and they're trying to do everything they can. You know.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Because they're scared.
I mean, these are tactics. These are tactics. These are strategic. These are strategies. This is war.
Yeah.
It's war.
Yeah.
How can we win? Well, why do you want to win? Why do you want to win? What's the point of winning? Like, you got to ask these questions.
Yeah.
Why do you want to win? Why do we want to win? What's the point of us winning?
Yeah.
Is it just to win? Like we just said, like, it becomes a whole competition. What's
My
the
team
point of
versus
us
your
winning?
team. Yeah.
You know, it's about, do we want peace, true peace? Or do you want to look like we have peace?
Right.
You know, that's, again, these go back to taking true responsibility versus looking like you can do something, like that little girl that was singing. Like, that's an act, right? That's literally acting.
Yeah.
Right? You're acting a part. You're playing a part, but you're not really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get enough people to tell you, "Oh, you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're winning," right? She's gonna believe it.
Yep.
And that's what they do with us. And that's what they do to themselves. We're winning. Think about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the media does.
Yep.
Over and over again. We're winning.
All right, so let me show this clip from this guy Ian Carroll, who's a TikToker himself, and he's one of those guys that does a ton of research. I know you've probably seen his videos. This is him breaking down how AIPAC is pretty much the one who sponsored this bill.
Him? Because I just did. Here, check this out. This is the bill right here. Representative Mike Gallagher. That would be this charming devil right here. And if we look at his top contributors for this election cycle, Palantir and Google are at the top with $44,000 and $40,000. But right there, that's AIPAC with $17,000. But wait, there's more. We're gonna switch this to the last election cycle in 2022 and scroll down. And would you look at that? His top contributor that got him elected in 2022 was AIPAC with $44,000 contribution. If you didn't know, that's the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, the Zionist lobby group that doesn't need to register as a foreign agent because they refuse to. So just to clarify, the TikTok ban bill was introduced by a guy whose some of his top contributions are coming from the Zionists and from Google and Palantir, top tech companies associated with the CIA and Mossad. And now Mnuchin's trying to buy it, and ever since he stopped being Treasury Secretary for Trump, his business model is basically just ally with as many Zionists as humanly possible. People like David Friedman, people like the ex-chief of Mossad, Yossi Cohen, getting board seats on companies like Cyber Reason, an Israeli tech cyber company, which it's worth noting also has a Google person on their board, as well as Lockheed Martin. I mean, I'm speculating here. These are not facts, but it's looking more and more like the Israel lobby is the one that brought the bill.
Now, he pointed that out, and then audio leaked of the head. So hold on, let me see if I can find this. Him talking about TikTok and how we have a TikTok problem, we need to do something about it, and it's all based off of what was going on during the Israel-Palestine thing. Let me see if I can find it, because I had it, but I don't see it now. Let's see where I had this. What?
Oh, Jake. Somebody on comments writing something crazy.
What'd they write? Something crazy.
Nothing we should.
Sounds like the same person from before.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, we don't need to.
It's like an ad or I don't know.
Somebody advertising
if you're
on
living
in our
30 miles
comments.
of Philadelphia, you're going to want to hear this. The number one.
Somebody posted about it. Let me see.
That all of these TikTok users urged their representatives not to pass.
To their man, no problem.
Not exactly straightforward. This bill has made a lot of very weird bedfellows.
Quickly, our
to pick the speaker. You're fucking a bunch of
such.
Here we go.
I really believe they sat down and they read all those pages. This is where it comes from. And listen to this leaked
is the
audio
head
here.
Of the ADL.
Now, Shermine shared this. We have a major TikTok problem. Leaked audio of the ADL chief executive, Jonathan Greenblatt, freaking out because global youth aren't buying Israel's propaganda anymore. Listen to this.
But I also want to point out that we have a major generational problem. All the polling I've seen, ADL's polling, ICC's polling, independent polling, suggests
You hear that?
Yeah, so he says we have a TikTok problem, we have a Gen Z problem. And there is an argument to be said that like there was a lot of different information going back and forth about praising Hamas in weird ways on TikTok. But do we want certain people to wield that power from foreign nations into our government about passing bills to ban something for their self-interest? Like, that's what we need to talk about. Like, because they didn't want to ban TikTok when we knew China was pushing the algorithm to dumb down our youth with dances and challenges and dumb content. They didn't care about that. They didn't care about banning TikTok when, you know, China was pushing propaganda about, you know, certain agendas that they want to push in this country. But now all of a sudden something happens that they don't like, and now they're going above and beyond to try to get this bill passed. That's where people are like, and they're hiding it as China's the problem for data harvesting. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's strange that it's both sides that are agreeing.
That's the other part.
You know,
all of a sudden now we agree on something.
Yeah.
Now we get 80% of the vote.
We can't agree on our borders.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely we're seeing this. It's a government problem.
Yeah.
It's not a people problem.
Yeah.
It's a government problem.
Right.
Like and that's what they get us to focus on. They get us to focus on the people.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about America, it's not the people more than the government that are pushing a lot of these things, right?
Right.
Like you look at all the stuff, they're pushing these things into different countries with the LGBT, all this stuff, right? They're pushing these things into countries. We couldn't even go to the World Cup without them trying to push this stuff.
Right.
Right. But that's not the people, so to speak, as a whole.
Right.
Right. And you look at Israel, same thing. It's not the people as a whole, but the government is they want to control their people.
Mm-hmm.
The government wants to control their people.
Yeah.
So that they can get the outcome they desire.
Yep.
Just like over here.
Right.
So that's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against a slavery that they are trying to implement over the mass majority of citizens. Instead of citizens, what do they want to call us? Slaves.
Yeah, shout out to Emma. He said, greetings, guys. He said, can't find y'all on YouTube. We're on there. It says we're live right now. Let me see. My phone is dead. Somebody check to see if the YouTube is up. Brendan said, hey, guys, how's it going? What's up, brother? We just celebrated your big holiday over the weekend, huh? Brendan is our Irish brother. St. Patrick's Day was this weekend. I got to see the Chicago River dyed green. That was cool.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, cool. They do it every St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, we're live. We're live, Emma.
We're live on YouTube.
Yeah, so we can get caught up in like the tropes. Those are tropes.
Yeah.
Right? We can get caught up in the tropes of, oh, America is this or Russia is this and Israel is this. When we got to understand, like, no, we're actually just people.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can elect the wrong people and you can be irresponsible, right? As people, as a body. And I think we have been as Americans.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And we have to take responsibility for those things. But what's the point? If they can get us to continue to seek after our own desires, right? With the policies, if the policies are trying to get us to focus on our own selves, right? Not worry about everything going around, but only on you personally.
Yeah.
And your own and your family personally.
Mm-hmm.
They got you.
Yep.
They got you. But you have to step out and look at the whole.
Right.
And in order to do that, you have to change your perspective.
Mm.
It can't just be about you. It can't just be about the people that you know or affect you personally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Brendan said American holiday.
They don't celebrate that in Ireland? Because when I went to Haddonfield, I saw people dressed up in leprechaun costumes. I saw all kind of Irish stuff. I thought maybe, no, I'm just joking. I know that is nothing to do with y'all.
It turned into, it actually Jess told me, you know, that every time I look at St. Patrick's Day, it's like, what do you think? People
Drinking.
bar hopping
Yeah.
and going drinking. We
Yeah.
did a show one time during, I think, in Fishtown. Was it Fishtown? Where it was like St. Patty's Day, and there was like all these drunk girls.
Yeah.
That's what I think of
Right.
St. Patty's. But Jess was like, she likes actually like the root of it. It's St. Patrick was a guy that went to Ireland to spread the gospel,
Mhm.
of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And she honors that. And I'm like, okay, I see. I see.
He did a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And that's why there was a pride for him with the Irish Americans here.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they were Irish Catholic. And so they pushed to have that recognized here.
He said, we go to the pub at Patrick. It's not even Irish, LOL. St. Patrick was from Wales.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this documentary, this Nickelodeon documentary. We'll talk about it briefly. So, another situation where people in Hollywood, children involved on set with coming out with allegations of abuse and all this stuff. Someone who is clearly being seen as some kind of predator. So apparently this documentary aired, I don't know if it was on TV or something. You can pull this up, Mom. This is from today. It says, quiet on set allegations, the most shocking claims about Nickelodeon's heyday. The new ID documentary series, Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, takes a deep dive into the working conditions of both child actors and adult staff on Nickelodeon in the 1990s and 2000s. And we've all seen like the Amanda Bynes things, the weird stuff that Ariana Grande. Have you ever seen those clips of like, he would write these weird things into the script to make them do like suggestive stuff, which is weird. So in the documentary, some of the writers, former child stars, and other staffers who worked with Schneider alleged the atmosphere behind the scenes was toxic. Schneider does not appear in the documentary, but statements attributed to him responding to various allegations are shown on the screen. He has consistently denied allegations of misconduct, most recently telling Today.com through a spokesperson that he expected and asked a lot from his teams. Dan Schneider expected and asked a lot from his teams. They worked long hours and consistently made successful shows, and the challenges of production. Dan Schneider could blah, 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 blah. Schneider's this. I hate when they go through these whole things. He discovered Amanda Bynes, inappropriate jokes with Ariana Grande. There's an example where Ariana Grande tries to juice a potato by moving her hands over the brown potato. All that cast member remembers being cast as Noseboy for the costume. Frierson, who wore a large brown prosthetic nose on his face and shoulders, which seemed to resemble male genitalia. During the punchline, he sneezed snot. Frankly, it was just uncomfortable. But I always did my best to be a trooper. So I guess he like always wrote in these weird, suggestive things in the show. I'll show a little clip of some of the breakdown on TikTok, nonetheless.
Drake Bell has revealed the unspeakable and brutal abuse he suffered from Nickelodeon dialogue coach Brian Peck, describing it as the worst stuff somebody could do to a person. The former child star says the abuse started when he was just 15 and only got worse and worse and worse after that. Peck was arrested in 2003 and sentenced to 16 months in prison. Bell is speaking out about the ordeal in a new docuseries, Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV.
So, yeah. So there was allegations. Let's look at this next video. This is stuff that, shout out to Courtney. Courtney sent me this stuff because she wanted to talk about it.
Predators worked with Dan Schneider at Nickelodeon. And right here are 4 different people that were charged with SA crimes against children that worked with Dan Schneider at Nickelodeon. And on last night's episode, it talked about how 2 children from the Amanda Show were abused by 2 of these predators, with one of them being Drake Bell, and this actually happened on set. But the first one we're going to talk about is Jason Handy. His crimes were absolutely horrific, and it involved a whole bunch of underage children. When they raided his home, they found thousands of pictures of young children. And all of these pictures and other things that he collected as trophies were placed in Ziploc bags with these children's name on them. He was also caught sending inappropriate videos and photographs to underage girls. And he also had some SA accusations brought against him, but it also said how they found a notebook, and in this notebook he talked about his fantasies with young children. And honestly...
Okay, you get the idea. Let's see if there's anything else in this.
SA against a child on set at Nickelodeon. And at the time, this child wanted to remain a Jane Doe because he was scared that his career was going to be ruined. But we now know that this person is Drake Bell because he's getting ready to speak on tonight's episode.
I remember this story about Brian Peck. You remember hearing about this? Him getting arrested for assaulting a child? Yeah, so apparently that was the kid Drake Bell who was on the Amanda Bynes show.
Brian Peck was originally charged with 11 counts of SA acts against a minor. And these charges were horrible. One of the accounts was oral comp, and this is by force or fear. And he also had another charge of using a controlled substance or an anesthesia. He ultimately pled no contest and was found guilty on 2 SA acts against Drake Bell. After he served 16 months in prison, he would then go on to work at Disney Channel on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and he was the voice of the Mirror. And what made Brian Peck even more terrifying is the fact in last night's documentary, they talked about how he was pen paling with John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy is an SA offender who unalived a whole bunch of young men. And the fact that Brian Peck had a shrine of John Wayne Gacy in his room is honestly terrifying.
Where have we heard this before with elites in certain circles having these shrines to serial killers? Podesta. And he had the Dahmer. Mm-hmm. Dahmer was another one who was abusing young men. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a weird pattern. Yeah, and this guy, how does he get a job at Disney after he does time for doing that, assaulting a child on set at Nickelodeon?
That's the perfect person for Disney.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, this is what we're seeing. Like, where are the parents?
Yeah.
Are they giving their kids up? And like people think it's like Satanism and there's this ritual, like they're doing stuff.
Selling
like,
your
people
soul.
want to make it like, no, it's easy. You give up your child, you sacrifice your child to money, to fame.
Right.
You give up your child. Oh yeah, you want to do this? Go ahead. It's naive. Because you won't see it, or you turn a blind eye to it because you focus on what you can get, what you can receive.
I saw a clip from the documentary on X where one of the black actresses on the Amanda Bynes show was talking about her experience on the show. She was young at the time, and her mother would be on set with her, and she was saying how like there was this sense that like if you couldn't get close to Dan and make him like you wouldn't get good lines. You wouldn't be written into the shows as much. You know, you had to be on his good side.
And how do you get on his good side?
Right, exactly. And the mom was saying that like he would make comments, he would treat them a certain way, but she was afraid to say anything or speak up for her daughter because she didn't want to be the reason that her daughter didn't get a role or didn't get lines or something. You know what I mean? So she just didn't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And this is what you're saying. So you don't see, you're selling out the idea of standing up for your child because you want to put their career first. You know,
that's why I was thinking about Justin Bieber. Like, come on, you let him stay with that guy, with Diddy. Like,
that's not Justin Bieber. You're talking about Usher.
Well, Justin Bieber spent 48 hours
that time alone.
Yeah.
Like he was a kid.
Yeah.
And their parents just let him like that because, you know.
Yeah.
Courtney said it. She said, the bad part was parents just turned the other cheek for a coin.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I just want to show this clip because this was going viral before this documentary aired, because Amanda Bynes has been like spiraling for the last few years. And she just posted this clip randomly online and people were sharing it around like, yo, what happened to her? So pull this up real quick, Mom, so you can see. This is her. And let's just play it. Oh,
Wow,
of
that don't
course.
even look like her.
I know. You could tell like that's someone who's been through trauma. What happened to it? It just went away. Here it is. Okay.
Everybody, I wanted to let my fans know that I'm taking the board exam to get my manicurist license this Tuesday. I really hope I pass the test this time. I will let you all know if I do or don't, of course, and I'll keep retaking it until I get the license. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye. Everybody, I wanted to let my...
So she's trying to pass the test to get her manicurist license, letting all her fans know. I don't know if you guys have seen over the last few years other videos that she's posted where she's kind of like, it's been a slow spiral into this.
Mm-hmm.
And people have always been saying like, what happened to her? And in the documentary, I did see clips where they were showing how like she was really close with Dan Schneider. Like lots of like touching and hugging and weird, like just affectionate behavior between the two of them in public, you know? So, and he was the one who discovered her. He was the one who was like pushing for her to be a star. You know, she got the best treatment. All the people were saying that. So, you know, it's a shame when you see a child be sacrificed to this God.
Yeah. And we've seen it a lot through the years.
Yeah.
With all these child stars.
Yep. So apparently he came on to do an interview after all of this aired, and someone from one of the cast members from one of the shows interviewed him. It's a 20-minute long interview, so we're not going to watch it, but I'll just show a couple minutes of it right here where he's kind of like apologizing, I guess. Here we go again.
If it was something that he'd be willing to discuss, I'm pleased to say that he said yes. Dan, how are you?
I'm okay. I really appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity to talk to you about what we saw over the last 2 nights.
I'm really glad you're here because I believe this is important.
For sure.
We've got a lot of things to unpack. But before I dive into my list of topics that I'd like to discuss, is there anything you'd like to start off with?
Absolutely. Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today.
He used to always make his writers give him massages. And he always made it feel like he would say this. One of them was saying he would always throw a joke in there like, give me a massage and I'll put one of your sketches in the show. You know what I mean? So he used to always like treat them. He would flex his power a lot around because this dude was involved with mad shows on Nickelodeon and Disney and all of that.
I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well.
Yeah. Dan, talk to me about the writer's room. From what I saw, not cool.
No, and I don't mean to cut you off, but if I can cut right to the chase, let me just say, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writer's room, ever, period, the end, no excuses. Most TV writers, comedy writers have been in writers' rooms, and they are aware that a lot of times there are inappropriate jokes made and inappropriate topics come up. But the fact that I participated in that, especially when I was leading the room, it embarrasses me. I shouldn't have done it. And I can tell you, why it hurts really bad for me. I remember very clearly my early experiences, my first experiences in the entertainment business. I was green, I was scared, I was excited. It meant the world to me that I was getting those opportunities. And I went in and I got lucky because they were great. My first couple of experiences were fantastic. And the fact that I didn't pay that forward to every employee that walked through my door, it hurts my heart because I should have. And I wish I could go back and fix that. In the writer's room, there's no doubt that sometimes those jokes went beyond the pale, and I said things that went too far, or made practical jokes that went too far, and that was wrong. And
yeah, I don't know. I need to watch this whole thing. I haven't. So this is his response. I guess he's like trying to own up to the whole thing.
But is he owning up? I haven't watched any of this stuff.
Me either.
Did he own up to the SA?
I don't know if he was involved in that.
No.
It may have just happened on his watch. So we need to, before we can do like a deep dive into what this was, we need to watch it. I'm just bringing it up because Courtney wanted to speak on it.
Yeah.
So this is something that maybe everybody should go check out.
I mean, at least,
yeah.
And at least it's bad leaders.
Yeah.
And bad.
In a bad environment, especially for children.
Well, that's why I'm saying leaders, because like in any place of authority, somebody is setting the groundwork. Somebody is establishing a place of peace, right?
Yeah.
So what are you putting forward?
Right.
What are you focused on? And a lot of times this is what we're seeing. The outcomes, like who put him in a place of authority?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
What authority put him in a place of authority? What were they looking at when they put him in a place of authority?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What were they focused on? Because obviously they weren't focused on the right things.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing all these things. Like I remember those shows.
Yeah.
And I remember that they were annoying as for me. I think I was probably a little older, like when they were.
I never watched any of these shows, so I don't know.
Well, I never watched them, but I remember like seeing them.
Yeah.
Right. Just, you know, like
in passing,
right?
Yeah.
And just thinking like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Like at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't have cable.
You didn't. This was later, right?
How old? I don't remember the show.
Anyone ever watch Saved by the Bell?
Oh yeah, we watched Saved by the Bell was our show.
This is like 2000s, right? The early 2000s.
Maybe I don't know.
Okay,
I need to watch the documentary, so I want to watch it. I do want to watch.
My point is, we were talking about this like you said last week, right? You brought up Babylon.
Yes.
Okay, so look at the environment.
Yeah.
Right. Just if you watch that movie,
Yep.
look at the environment. Look at what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And look at what they were cultivating.
Yep.
The culture they were cultivating.
Yeah.
And that's my point. So what do you expect to get?
Yeah. What are the what is the fruit going to come from those seeds?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what's been happening.
Right.
And you recognize, so when we do these things, it's at the expense of other people.
Right.
Somebody's going to get hurt.
Right.
Somebody's going to,
especially when you start pushing children into that
yeah.
environment.
The only people who benefit are the people at the top.
Yeah.
Really, truly. Right? Because somebody put him in place.
Yeah.
But they're not answering for what he did.
Right.
You know?
Right. They get to avoid all responsibility.
Right. But they put him in place.
Let's play this one video of the Ariana Grande thing just to get a little insight. This is from the documentary as well.
There's one video of Ariana Grande making a joke about a potato.
Sometimes I wonder if you can get juice from a potato.
Did that air on Nickelodeon?
Mark Summers.
Come on, give up the juice.
Yikes.
I'm thirsty.
In another video, Ariana is pouring water on herself in what seems like a very sexual manner. And people started saying, this feels inappropriate for children. Looking.
What is that, dude?
Doesn't even make sense.
That's in a show for children.
Yeah.
There's other scenes where like she's doing, I guess she would do these things where she talks to the camera. There was another one where I saw where she was like, you ever try to see if you could fit your foot in your mouth? And she's like trying to like put her foot in her mouth. It's like this weird.
Yeah.
She played a really dumb ditzy character.
Okay.
On that show, I don't even remember what the show was, but I just remember she was a ditzy, dumb character, and it was bad.
Yeah.
Like just the fact, like why would anybody take it to that level?
Right.
Of it was just stupid.
Yeah.
That you would do that to somebody and to create a character like that.
Yeah.
For
You know what I mean?
somebody to give her a potato and say squeeze it.
Yeah.
Like and making that noise
Yeah.
and stuff. That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Well, and the thing is, like, it's it's funny.
Is
But-
it?
But again,
It's not even funny.
again, but that's culture, right?
Yeah.
Because everything funny is subjective.
Yeah.
Right. You can, or even fun, subjective. Right.
Right.
You're cultivated into what's funny,
Mm-hmm.
or you can say even you're programmed into what's funny.
Yeah.
So what are we programming? What are we allowing our kids to watch? How many
Yeah.
people grew up watching these cartoons that were so sarcastic and even cynical? Then kids grow up and thinking that it's cool to be sarcastic and cynical in that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, literally, that's Gen Z for you.
Yeah. Courtney said Dan Schneider did a lot to her too. I mean, it's amazing how like the most famous ones seem to be the ones that got the most, you know, and then you just look at how they end up after the fact and you're like, there's so much trauma there.
Yeah.
Nicholas Williams said they're trying to live through their kids. Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. I mean that. Well, I never remember the guy's name, but the guy who played Borat.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah,
we talk about that.
yeah.
That was a crazy.
What was that movie?
Bruno. That was a terrible movie, but that was the only scene of the movie that I would tell people about because it said so much about how parents are willing to sacrifice. If you haven't seen Bruno, it's a movie where he plays this. Sacha Baron Cohen, like in Borat, he plays this character that he
It's like a gay.
well, every one is different, but this character is a gay, like artsy guy, and he's a casting director for this commercial, and he brings parents in, and he just starts hitting them with the most ridiculous scenarios and the most ridiculous.
So he's playing a character, but it's real people.
Real people bringing their
He's
children in to
interviewing
be
real-
in this commercial.
Right.
And he's telling them like, okay, I love your child, but you think she'd be willing to do some liposuction, maybe lose 30 pounds?
Plastic surgery.
Yeah. And they're agreeing they're like, oh, yeah, I think that'll be okay. Like they are offering their kids up to do anything to have them in this, to have them get booked. To have them get booked. Yeah, I remember he said one about hanging them from a cross like Jesus. Like there was another one where he was like, we're going to put them in a Lamborghini with no car seat and no seatbelt on going 80 miles per hour. Like it was like a baby. Like
You're like, yeah, we can get that done.
Yeah.
Anything for fame. Anything for fame.
But that scene was crazy. Speaking of crazy,
dude, how many? Because it just reminds me of like how many meetings we were in.
Yeah.
And we're always, I don't know if y'all felt like this, but I always felt like, what are you going to say that is going to annoy me?
Yes.
And I'm not. And they would always be like, why are you guys so quiet?
Yeah.
Because I'm
Ready for
waiting.
the
I'm
annoyance.
waiting for it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for
we know it's something's
the dumb
coming. Yeah.
Thing that I got to not, because, I'm
bracing yourself.
I'm bracing myself because
Yeah.
I don't want to get mad. I don't
Yeah.
want to snap out on
You
someone.
can't hide your emotions on your face.
So I just kind of try to like.
When do you need to have your shirt off and do a dance?
But they would come with some dumb
Yep.
ideas, dumb stuff. And if you're willing, you're like, oh yeah, we could do that. Yeah. Oh, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, we just stay quiet, like, don't know about that.
That's why we're hard to read, man. Give me something, MTV. You guys got to give me something.
Yeah.
Those holsters, whatever that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
The holsters, yeah.
I didn't want to wear them.
Yeah, sometimes we didn't come out on top.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes we compromised and regretted it.
Yeah.
But in small ways.
Yeah.
And he tried to soup us up because he was like, I was saving this for
Day 26.
Day 26. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember the name. I was like, keep him for day 26.
Bad boy.
Yeah, bad boy. Exactly. Diddley.
Diddly.
Let's play this Bill Maher clip and then we'll get into the Ye stuff. So you sent me this clip of Bill Maher making a profound statement on his show.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Bill Maher's been on one lately. So let's listen to this.
For all the progressives and academics who refer to Israel as an outpost of Western civilization like it's a bad thing, please note, Western civilization is what gave the world pretty much every liberal precept that liberals are supposed to adore. Individual liberty, scientific inquiry, rule of law, religious freedom, women's rights, human rights, democracy, trial by jury, freedom of speech. Please, somebody stop us before we enlighten again. And since one can find all these concepts in today's Israel and virtually nowhere else in the Middle East, if anything, the world would be a better place if it had more Israels. Of course, this message falls on deaf ears to the current crop who reduce everything to being only victims or victimizers, so Israel is lumped in as the toxic fruit of the victimizing West. The irony being that all marginalized people live better today because of Western ideals, not in spite of them. For all the
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's speaking a lot of truth.
A lot of truth there.
Yeah, but the irony is, like he just said, the irony is he doesn't see that for himself.
For himself. Yeah.
He doesn't realize that.
He does that too.
Yeah, in terms of he tries to knock religion so much, or I'll say Christianity so much.
And he doesn't realize what Christianity has done to push a lot of those things.
Yes.
It was the foundation for most of those Western ideals.
Right. They're biblically founded and grounded in the Bible.
Yeah.
Right? Or by the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Or by the ideas of the Bible.
Mhm.
Right. So he doesn't. It's crazy. Like a lot of atheists don't get that.
Yeah.
They don't get where do you get your morals from?
Well, they think that you can just come to these morals without God.
Yeah.
Which,
No.
try that.
Yeah.
Try that. See how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to come up with the same type of society.
Yeah.
Like you're
but
not.
look at the ones that have other gods
Mhm.
and how their societies are functioning.
Yeah.
Is exactly what he's
Look
talking
at
about. here.
look at every country that tried to do away with God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Russia. Well, Soviet Union.
North Korea.
America?
Yeah.
China.
Us?
Well, America now,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
How many people were killed?
Yeah.
Russia, China, like you said, North Korea.
Yeah. Cambodia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the problem. This is the issue. We don't see it. We only see it again to how it affects
When it encroaches on our borders.
Right. And that's I think that's for him.
Yeah.
That's how he views it.
Yeah, because he's the same one who was saying that California's not that bad. Gavin Newsom is a good guy. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like the homelessness thing, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Is it really that bad?
Yeah.
And then because he's in his bubble where it doesn't affect him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
PBD actually mentioned that because they were talking about that. PBD acknowledged that he's going to be fine either way because he makes money.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see that because he's in his bubble. You're rich, dude.
Yeah.
You're not affected by
And he doesn't have a family.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he has
Right?
no
In
family,
that way.
no responsibility,
Yeah.
nothing to worry about. No policy that they can put in place is going to affect him. If
Yeah.
it comes to trans rights for kids, if it comes to schools, whatever they're doing in schools, if it comes to the homeless thing, none of that affects him because he doesn't have to see it day to day.
But what happens when it starts affecting him?
That's why he's speaking out about stuff like this.
And that's why we spoke about this earlier. It's about responsibility and truly caring for others.
Yeah.
Love your neighbors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
Yeah.
That
What's in the
reminds me-
Bible?
Do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
Right. and why do we do these things? Because it creates an atmosphere of peace. Right?
Yeah.
And if you take a step forward in truly caring for other people, you go into their perspective.
Right.
You see it
Yeah.
from their eyes. You step into their shoes instead of only seeing it your own way and then projecting that out on the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of PBD, another person was on there kind of admitting to that. Andrew Schultz just did an interview with PBD, and they were talking about New York because he's from New York. He loves New York. That's like his heart. So they were talking about everything that's going on in New York with the migrants and the crime and everything. And he was saying, like, you know, he hears people saying that, and statistically it could be worse, but he doesn't feel it. You know, for me, he's like, I don't feel it when I'm there. I don't see, you know, and we know that they just deployed, PBD starts telling him, like, well, they just deployed the National Guard into the subways. You know, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, but he probably never has to.
You don't need to take the subway, dude.
But he admitted he was aware enough, self-aware enough to be like, look, my commute is a 10-minute from my podcast studio to my house. It's 10 minutes. He's like, I'm not in. It could just be my bubble, and it also could be because I grew up in a time where he was like, listen, when I grew up, when I was in middle school, every single one of my friends got robbed for their North Face jacket. It was like a rite of passage. Like crime was so ridiculous in the 90s that now, it's gotten worse in the last few years, but it's not what it was then. So it still doesn't feel as bad to us that grew up during that time. You know what I mean?
Right. But that's not a good measure.
Exactly.
You know.
But that's why he's saying, like, he perspective wise, he can say it doesn't feel that bad, so I'm not that up in arms about it, but it could be because of these reasons.
Yeah.
He's not just saying, oh, it's not that bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, you get you're connecting it or measuring it to something else.
Right.
But the problem is it could be a lot worse than that if you keep going in this way and you don't recognize it.
Yeah.
You don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if you get these cannibal Haitians moving up in there. Cannibalistic Haitian gangs. Okay, let's move on to this. So apparently Ye did another interview with Big Boy. I didn't know about this, but you sent me some clips. I need to go watch the whole interview. Seems like he's on a different wave now, huh?
He's definitely on another one.
He's on a new wave. So Jesus is King is over. Now it's...
Yeah, we can react to it, you know.
Jesus is King.
I know nothing about this.
Okay, let's play a little bit of it. Some of the clips you sent me. Here we go. Okay, we have no audio. Here we go.
Hear this, but that's all you. Then sometimes you just want to say, man, not fuck it, but you just want to say, man, this is what I'm feeling right now. Are you in that space where you're comfortable enough to say, this is where I am right now? I'm still a man of God. Jesus still is king, but this is vultures right now. This is where I am.
It is, but I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I didn't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands. Like a lot of times I just feel like in our society, in America, you know, people, Christians, we depend on Jesus so much that we won't put the word in ourselves. And the main thing that really I don't rock with is like, it's just always like, I'm gonna pray for you. And it's just like, you can actually physically do something yourself too, more than just pray. And we're so in this mentality that's all that needs to happen, but we ain't praying our way out of prison. We ain't praying our way out of the abortion clinics. We ain't praying our way to get our land back that was always ours after gentrification, after the Harlem Renaissance and Black Wall Street was burned to the ground. Them prayers ain't working. We have to apply actual physical building partnerships, and it don't start unless we could really be real with each other and say, this is what I did, this is what I did. Like, I mean, look at this. I know I'm not going to third rail y'all interview, but look at the power of what happened when me and Kyrie was on the same page. See, that's what's scary. But what they do is they put us each in a silo and say, your grandmother going to lose her crib, and this going to, you know how many threats we've been dealt with? And I didn't pray my way through them threats either. I had to get up and do it myself. I had so much to do, I ain't had time to pray. So that's where my issue is. And look at where I'm at today. You know,
okay. He ain't have time to pray.
So he started out with, I have issues with Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? And
so who's he trusting in himself?
Trusting in himself.
Now he's back to that.
Yeah. And I don't even think he understands what prayer is for.
Right.
You know, just like maybe a lot of people don't understand.
I
what
don't think
prayer
they
is
do.
for. You know, we think, let me pray to God and hope He does the things that I desire Him to do.
It's a wish list.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a genie.
That's what he just said. He said,
it's magic.
And then none of it came to pass. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah. I remember when he came out with Jesus is King, and I'm like I'll say this. For me, I'm looking at it like it's a win in terms of at least because
People are
people were
talking
coming
about
at
Jesus again.
at him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's really real.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, well, at least Jesus is being proclaimed,
Yeah.
right? He's being talked about.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Which is important,
Right.
Like, I think he goes into a little bit like with when he had the whole that gospel stuff. The church, what was he doing with that
Sunday service?
Sunday
Yeah.
service, and there was stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of craziness.
Right.
But again, why? Because you weren't ready to do that stuff,
Right.
And you took on something that maybe you shouldn't have took on.
And no one's gonna be in position to really check him on that. They're just gonna be like, "Oh, this is something I can be a part of." So I'm going to jump on the opportunity and do my thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of like, this is a new dude.
Yeah.
With Jesus.
Right.
So there's gonna be a lot of
learning,
trial and error, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what faith is, because he says it like, you know, you can't just pray, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Basically, like, he's almost saying like, faith without work is dead. But but the problem is who you believing in.
Yeah,
You believe in yourself.
But the thing is, yourself is the reason why you're in the positions you're in, and that's the
Mhm.
thing that he's not acknowledging.
He's not saying.
He's thinking Jesus is supposed to save him from all the bad choices he's made. You know what I
Right,
mean?
but he doesn't even look at them as bad choices.
That's one. But no one told you to marry who you married. No one
Mhm.
told you to have children with this person who you didn't align with value wise and ideal wise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you did, or maybe you were just trying pretend like you didn't, but you expected someone to fit in a mold that they weren't willing to fit in.
Mhm.
You didn't think about any of that when you decided to marry them, be with them. You got with Kim, and he openly has said this, so I'm not. This isn't speculation. You got with Kim because you used to watch her porn video.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
used to fantasize about that.
Right. So I mean, that you're already starting from a standpoint of, misalignment right there.
Yeah.
So but you don't want to face the fact that your decisions are what led to the consequences. It's, oh, Jesus was supposed to fix this for me.
Yeah, and I think that's where he's saying it. And a lot of people do this. Like, we want to see God in our image to where he's our fixer or our helper or the hand we need, or to give me what I need.
Yeah.
Right? To give me what I need, to tell me what I need. Right? What I need.
Yeah.
What I want.
Right.
Instead of, no, I'm going to give you what you need.
Right.
The way I see it.
Right.
Right. And sometimes, like, you ever hear the thing like, I ask him for wisdom, he gives me problems.
Yeah.
You ever hear that?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't come in the way you think.
Right.
But then you'll miss it because your focus is, you see God in this way.
Yeah.
I need him to do this for me. It's like, no, you're not the dictator.
Right.
He is.
Right.
He dictates. Right. So, and that teaches us to humble ourselves.
Yeah.
But what you see with Kanye West throughout all that stuff, he was never humble.
Yeah.
He stayed in pride. Right. And I said that, like, the problem with, we talked about this stuff, and I always said, like, the problem that I'm seeing with him is he's prideful.
Yeah.
And he's continuing in this pride. Right.
Mhm.
And that's going to cause problems for him later
Right.
on down the line, because if we don't humble ourselves and recognize, like, all right, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
He never
I
does
never
heard that.
Right. Right.
It was always,
what is everybody else not
yeah,
doing? What is God not doing?
I'm sorry, sister. If I don't say this, I'm going to forget it. Imagine Jesus praying all the time, and he was close to the Father, communicating, right?
Yeah.
But he had to suffer through all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what. Doesn't mean, I'm not going to pray no more, because you know what? God let me go through this.
But even Jesus said, if there's any other way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And God didn't say, okay, because you asked and I love you, I'll find another way. No, he said, nah, you got to do this.
no, he strengthened him to be able to do
Exactly.
it. Right. He gave him ability.
Right.
And that's, we get weak, and you see it. Like, now he's back into porn. Now
Yeah.
I was following him for a little bit on
Right.
Instagram. I had to
Because he's
delete.
posting all this
Yeah, I
crazy
had to
stuff with his
unfollow
new
him.
wife. Yeah.
And so you get caught up in your weaknesses, and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, well, then they're weaknesses. So are they really a problem anyway?
Yeah.
And then you start thinking, well, this is just who I am, right?
Yep.
You start allowing those things to be a part of your life because you think, Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, and even what you hear him in his saying like, but people saying, you know, I pray for you, but they could do something. They could, you know, there's things that you could do. I think he's expecting other people to want to fight for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there is something to be said about, you know, how people throw that around a lot, especially in the church community. Like,
definitely.
I'm going to pray for you.
Definitely.
And no one really cares enough to actually help. It's just, they know that that's the easy.
Pray. They just say it.
No, they just say it. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there is a point to what he's saying there.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that, like, everybody's supposed to come in and want to fight your battle, like, that's.
Yeah. Like, if you think about it, we're learning to be children, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not just children, obedient children.
Right.
Right? And obedience is found in the place of struggling in acknowledging God in all our ways.
Right.
That's where obedience is found. And you recognize, I didn't acknowledge him here. So we go to these issues and our stress is in, our anxiety is in us not understanding. And we don't understand, or we misunderstand, because God is saying, you're not aligned with me.
Yeah.
Right? So then I have to humble myself in those areas and say, all right, I recognize that. That's hard to do, right? It takes time to take that rest, to take that time to pause and recognize him here when you're used to trying to fix something,
right,
or work something out on your own, you know, which is what he's literally saying.
Yeah.
So if you don't come to that place of recognition, you're never going to come to the place of obedience, right? And even you look at Jesus, through his suffering, he learned obedience. Although he was always, he never did anything wrong, but it was an example for us.
Right.
He became the author of our salvation through his suffering, right? Learning how we are saved is we have to struggle. We have to suffer. So when we're going through things and we're like, God, why won't you help me? Because God is saying, I'm teaching you how to take on my ability, because you can't do it in your own ability.
Right. I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
look at the rich man who comes to Jesus and he says, you know, how can I get into heaven, basically?
Yeah.
And
well, what do I do?
Yeah,
what do I
need to do
to be saved?
To be saved, yeah. And Jesus says, sell all your possessions and come follow me, right?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's basically what
he walked away with his head down.
Yeah,
right? Because he couldn't give it up.
Right. But so he didn't say, you know, he didn't say, I'm going to give you all the answers that you want to hear.
Yeah. I'm going to cause you to suffer.
I'm going to cause you to suffer.
Yeah.
And I don't think Kanye's at the point where he is willing to do that. Like if God came to him right now and was like, sell everything.
Yeah.
Detach yourself from your...
I think he's willing to suffer in the way that he can point back to himself.
Right. And use it as a badge of honor.
In his eyes, he's suffered. And God didn't come to rescue him.
Why? Because he lost the Adidas deal?
He lost the
because
Adidas.
They took money from his bank account. The marriage failed. Yeah.
Because it's not enough that you suffer.
Yeah.
It's in your suffering you learn obedience. Right? Yeah, everybody suffers, but how we are different from the world is we learn to recognize God in our suffering.
Yeah.
You know, count it all joy when you go through various trials, that your faith produces patience, and that patience perfects you, right?
Yeah.
That patience it perfects you in what? Wisdom, right? And that's wisdom, that's heavenly wisdom. And it's teaching us to walk in righteousness, or to practice righteousness. Practice or exercise is a thing that we do daily. We're not, it's not a religion. Religion is practice, right? It's our exercising.
Yeah.
That's what religion is for us. Religion is not I believe in Jesus, right?
Yeah.
That's not what religion is for us. Our relationship with Jesus is in our submission to Jesus, which then, as we're going through these things, we change in our practices. We're not going to, just like soccer with the kids, I'm not going to be teaching my 10-year-old stuff that I taught him when he was 6 years old and tell him keep practicing this thing that he was practicing at 6-year-old. No, it's going to grow. He's going to grow in responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, you're ready. I can't. My 7-year-old can't do the things that my 10-year-old can do.
Yeah, I mean,
He can't-
even not in soccer, just in life. Like,
Right.
you teach them. Their responsibility grows as they get older.
Right.
You give them more and more. You know, when you tell them to clean up as a 4-year-old, it's not the same telling them to clean up as a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And then as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, they have to learn more responsibility, more detail, more intricacies of what that means, you know.
Yeah, and in that, what happens? They grow in what you have.
Right.
They got to trust you in it. If they're just doing it to please you, they miss it.
Yeah.
If they're just doing it to shut you up, they miss it.
Yeah.
That's religion.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm just doing it to fulfill my obligation, then I missed the point.
Yeah.
The point is to receive what I have to give my son. If my kids don't receive it with the right heart, they're going to do the things, but they'll never receive what I have because they're doing it from a place of, I don't want to hear dad speak, right? I just want to do what I want to do. So I'm going to do this and then I can
get
do
back to
whatever
what
I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's religion.
Yeah.
In terms of those are practices that don't lead to anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But true religion has to do with true care. Like I told my kids, do you love me? How do you know you love me? How can you love me? And they're like, I don't know, showing it? I'm like, yeah, but how can you show it?
Yeah.
Like, can you protect me? No. You're too weak to protect me, right?
Can you provide for me?
Can you provide for me?
Yeah.
No. How do you love me? That's how I love you. How do you love me? And they couldn't really answer. I'm like, it's by you showing appreciation for me. It's by you being obedient to me and knowing, and you're obedient because you know I love you. And how do you know I love you? Because of what I provide for you. And because I provide it every day, not just in providing house for you, not just in providing a place for food for you, but in providing wisdom for you, telling you I love you and showing it every day in how I talk to you, even now as I'm talking to you, right? Why am I talking to you right now? Oh, because you love me? Yes. So now they're seeing, like, it starts to make sense to them. So now, what do I want to look for in you? Appreciation.
Yeah.
I want to see, how do I see your appreciation when I talk to you, you don't battle me. And like, yeah, but daddy, this don't make, you don't get it.
Right.
Just do it.
Right.
And sometimes for us, we're like, we got to understand it before we go and do it. That don't make no sense to me. Exactly. Because you're seeing it from your lens.
Right.
That's like, I always say this with Islam, because Islam can't, when you hear Muslims talk a lot, it's hard for them to get the Trinity. It's hard for them to understand, like, it doesn't make sense. Why would God come into creation? They don't understand how Jesus could be God, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense because you're looking through it through a Quran lens. You're presupposing the Quran's way of seeing God on Jesus.
Right.
You'll never see it.
Right.
But when you let go of that and you humble yourself and you say, well, explain to me how you see it, you'll be able to understand it if you truly want to hear it. But if you want to hold on to the way you see something, you'll never get it. And that's what we do as children, right? With our parents. That's what we do with God. And I think that's what he's doing.
All right, let's keep going.
I remember sitting with North in Italy and playing her back to me and asking her, what do you think about this line in the middle of the song? And I was like, do you think I should change this? And she's like, it's a good song. Sometimes I feel like my mom speaks through her. Wow. So I'm like, she's like, it's a good song. This is just a banger. Like, you got to say what you feel. A lot of times when you go into the whole Jesus, devout, Paul level, fell off a donkey level religious, you have thoughts in your mind and that you hide them from yourself. And then you sitting there and the whole choir is bucking. Y'all singing about that bucking.
Who is that's with him, by the way?
That's Ty Dolla $ign.
Oh, okay. So was he part of the interview too?
Yeah.
Oh, because they just did a song together. They hit #1, right?
They did a whole album together.
So the whole album is him and Ty Dolla $ign?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know. I know that they went #1.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh.
Like just content wise. Like the song he's talking about that he showed his daughter.
Yeah.
I would never show my daughter that song.
Wow.
And the fact that he, like everything he said, the fact that he said, well, when my daughter talks,
I hear my mom.
I hear my mom. Like,
yeah. And then he's asking his daughter for advice.
It just doesn't, none of it makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's unbalanced.
The niggas are stealing from you from the church. And it's like, man.
That's the part you were talking about where he was talking about how he was doing Sunday service and people were having sex in the choir. People were stealing from him. Yeah. So he's looking at it like, who can I trust?
Mm-hmm.
Who do I trust? Me. That's who.
Yeah.
Where does that that mentality comes from that type of character?
Yep.
Like, I swear it's just, you can only see what's immediately in front of you. Like when they say the Lulu, it's like, we lean on a lot of delusional concepts, and then it's just actual real concepts. Like say, like, you know, big topic right now is, are we going to sell the album? And the concept that, you know, streaming companies have made a deal with the people that were in ownership of our contract and decided to give us, you know, a percentage of a penny. And people aren't getting paid properly. And you got people that are fans saying, oh, you know, I don't have the money for this. I don't have that. We used to just getting it for free. So they've lowered the value of what we do and what we make. Like our music, part of the reason why it's so much better is, like, obviously you got super mega talents, but it costs a lot to make this album too. We was in Saudi, Italy, flights, car service, strippers, you know, it was expensive.
The lifestyle. Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Car service, strippers, yeah.
It was expensive to make. Like,
yeah.
I don't think he's getting.
Did he say they were in Saudi?
Saudi, yeah.
So
Saudi, Italy.
They were in Saudi with strippers?
I mean, I don't know. They were strippers were somewhere in that
strippers
mix.
were in the mix somewhere. There, I mean, it's funny though, like when you have money in those very Muslim countries, it seems like they're a lot looser with the restrictions.
Oh yeah, yeah. Behind closed doors.
Yeah. That's interesting. The album cost so much because not because they spent a lot on production and because they, you know, was at the best studios doing the best gear and had to hire live musicians. No, it's because they were traveling to different countries and there were strippers and cars and.
But think about it.
Private jets.
What did I say earlier? People who don't grow up.
Yeah. They're chasing experiences.
They chase toys and experiences, right? So that's what they're you hear it. That's what they're chasing.
Yeah.
It's the experience. But I don't hear no responsibility.
Right.
Truly.
Right.
I hear like you're basing your identity off of experience. That's lacking.
Yeah. It's adolescent.
Yeah.
Here's a new genre. It's called making your own money genre. And this music is called, like, take that middleman out, because they ain't giving us money, they're giving us acknowledgement. I don't want your acknowledgement. And I went so far past any level of acknowledgement. I was banished, I was exiled, I was canceled multiple times. So what, I done had like my kids that show up to Sunday service right in front of everybody. And you know what I mean? Like I'm crying to see my daughter and all of the usual suspects, the handlers, Dave Chappelle, Meek Mills, Diddy, all these people aren't in position. And for us as celebrities, they got to call him, put a leash on him. What are we going to do with Ye? Oh, he delusional. That's the best. Dave, give him a call. Diddy, give him a call. Tell him we ain't like the t-shirt. Tell him, like, right now the agenda is, this is the voting agenda for the celebrities, for the black. Make them do exactly what LeBron would do. Make them do exactly what Drake would do. And y'all know my stance on this. I want to say something about the number one. What's so good is the fuck you of it. And for everybody that's working at a normal ass job, like a fast food restaurant, or somebody girlfriend that left them for some nigga with more money, or whatever the fuck it is, all nigga want to do is just like pull up in that, so they can pull it right in front of this bitch and be like, fuck you. Now I just pulled up on everybody from last year cancellation, like, fuck all you niggas, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Amen. Was that where the social media, I don't know if was it a tweet that you...
He justified himself by getting the number one. But what did he do to get the number one? He ran right back into the bag that, you know, that he claimed he didn't need to make great music.
Yeah.
You know?
I put up?
What's that?
With the fuck yous. Was that like, is that what you're speaking on when you say, man, I was pulled this way. I was pulled this way. I was shut down. I was denied. And it feels good to inhale and just say, fuck you.
Yes,
fuck you. Fuck y'all.
That's what people don't know. That's the exhale.
Right.
The exhale ain't like, I would like to thank, I ain't thankful. It's fuck everyone about this bitch. Like, can't nobody tell me shit. La, 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 la.
Wait till and you got the money right.
You know what's so cool about that? Because niggas like Aiden Ross had to apologize. Nigga, I was like 2 months from bankruptcy, from like hundreds of millions of dollars, just getting like, raped, Michael Jackson by like, the people around, like how people was taking Mike's money, Michael Tyson, Michael Jackson, celebrities, Prince, whatever and shit. People, you got new employees, you got all that, and we cleaning all them employees up, doing industry standards, industry rates. Got my Shopify account right. Then said, boom, we're gonna do this $20. Then we did the Super Bowl, and the fact that I was able to show factual $19.3 million of sale in one day. The next day is 15 million. The next day was 11 million. But in one day, at the same time when the music was coming out, this was just us and the people at the end of the day. But even with the streams, it's like, on one end, you'd be like, it's like, stay away from the lie, because, we're number one. We had streams. How many niggas went number one and never made $1 billion? Now, Drake still ain't made $1 billion. This is as big as our Bad Bunny. They not gonna set that man Bad Bunny up to make $1 billion. They're gonna give him the same pack that they gave Drake. That Lucian pack, whatever it is. Everybody.
You hear what he said? Who did he mention? Lucian.
Yeah.
The guy that we was the head of Universal.
And everybody that does music, maybe this is not a outside, but anyone in the music industry knows that Drake and Bad Bunny got that same, that push. We're gonna push this radio. We're gonna push this. We're gonna push that. And that pack was removed from me, ever since the Taylor Swift thing. So to hit this number one is such a fuck you, and people need to understand how valuable it is to be able to tell people.
And
fuck
you did that, y'all.
If you say that,
So I mean, there's some truth to what he's saying, right? Like in terms of the industry, how they push things, what they want to push, the agendas they're trying to push, how you need to be in line with that, right? And how he wasn't aligned with that. But my issue is like the whole FU thing just shows you it's about you improving yourself. Right? It's about dealing with rejection, right? And how you prove yourself, you reject everybody else. And you never see people as, well, we're all struggling. We're all dealing with our stuff, right? Like even a Drake, a Diddy, they're all, some of them have done some horrendous stuff, but, and probably worse than a lot of people, but you're still, if you might have killed 5 people, right? Somebody killed 1 person.
You're still a murderer.
Yeah. You're still a liar. Or you're still an adulterer. You're still a thief. You do one thing, you steal one thing, you're still gonna go to jail, right? You still can be prosecuted.
Well, not anymore. They're changing all those laws. It's got to be over $1,000.
That is true. But
get away with it if you're,
if you're a legal immigrant.
But the point is that when you don't recognize that, you start to look at everybody as against you. You become a loner, and then you're not gauging things in the right way. So now if they ain't talking like you, then they ain't for you. And you start to see that, like, all right, F you.
Right.
You get paranoid.
You get paranoid. And that's what you see. We saw that happen.
Who do I trust? Me. That's who. And what happened to him? You remember how he started isolating himself? He was completely paranoid. He didn't trust anybody. He killed his best friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he was winning.
Yeah.
He was a prisoner in his own palace.
Yep.
What happened?
Wife left him.
Dead.
Yeah. He dead. Yeah.
The lawyer is talking to the manager, is talking to the label, and all you are is a cow. Like the meat packages should come in and out. All you are is a supermodel showing up at the club and bringing the celebrities around. Like, that's the new models around. And when they get older, they bring in a new batch. That's who the artists are. There's a joke. That's why I'd be like surprised I'm still alive. There's an industry joke. There's 2 jokes. One joke that a friend of mine, I'm not gonna put him on blast because it's just about the joke more than it's about the name. He says, he is a manager. He said, you know what I hate about artists? They take 80% of my money.
Wow.
And the other joke they had is, what would we do if artists figured out their own distribution? And the punchline is, we'd have to kill them. So I'd be surprised that I'm still alive every day.
How did you not so-called disappear? Like, because that's a hell of a fight.
Because I'm God. And anyone to disagree, I'm the God of me, and you can't tell me who I am. I can't tell y'all. I could tell y'all. It's y'all job to listen. I'm the God of me. I don't know if I'm in heaven already and shit. I got number one. For all you know, I might be in like a fourth dimension version of the lifestyle. You know, I don't know. Like I said, I must have died in this accident. This must be heaven. I feel like, you know, there's people, tech guys and shit, like Shervin or Elon. Elon always says, whatever would be the funniest outcome is what you have. He's just thinking like, what is the most insane version of something? And that's the version that should happen. My boy Shervin said, God or alien or universal, whatever happens, it feels like victory favors the brave. The people that lean into it, that because all like ears, it just threats at the end of the day. It's like, why should you fear? You know, it's another thing I don't like in Christianity, the fear of God. If God is love, why should you fear him?
You see,
because you
see it.
Yeah.
There's no respect.
Yeah.
There's no honor. That's why. That's the submission part.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
But he just first he said, "I am God," and then
Yeah.
he said, "Why should I fear God?"
Yeah.
So he doesn't honor God. He doesn't see God as this figure to be feared.
He doesn't understand the concept of fearing God.
Right. But the fact that no one has made him aware of that with all the counsel that he's had when he was doing the Jesus is King thing, he's had all these pastors around him, didn't he? Mentors.
I don't. Maybe they did make him aware. Maybe he was just stubborn and he wanted to see it the way he wanted to see it. Like,
That's true.
You never know.
True.
It's one fear, you get another fear, you get another fear. What do you have at that point? You're easily controllable. You're easily sellable. You're easily contracted because you have this fear on you. Like, everybody gonna die eventually, but I'm gonna live my entire life with zero fear.
You know what's funny is because when he was in his whole Jesus is King thing, he was saying, I don't fear nothing but God. So if I only fear God, I can't fear what you're trying to do here. I can't fear. What happened to that? Now all of a sudden he's saying, if I fear God, then I'm going to fear all these things.
Because he was saying a thing that he didn't really do.
Yeah.
That's hypocrisy, right? He's saying something, I only fear God, but he doesn't fear God.
Right.
Because if he feared God, it would show. That's why you always know, like, everybody is going to make mistakes. Like this trope of, oh, you're a Christian, but you do this too. Yeah, we're going to mess up. We're going to fall. We're going to make mistakes. But there's grace for that, right? There's God's ability. I'm not saying that we go around sinning.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that when we make those mistakes, he's there to raise us up. It's to recognize, oh, I need him.
Yeah.
What happens? Oh, I need to fear him more, right? I fear him now because I recognize when I fall, that put fear in me.
Right.
Oh, I'm not as great as I thought I was.
Right.
Right. So now I humble myself and I say, oh, I need you, God.
Yeah.
Right. But when you over time, when you start to trust yourself, because you really just trusted yourself before, and when you continually trust yourself, it's going to show the mirror back to you. You don't fear God.
Right.
Because you're not looking at him, you're looking at yourself. Right? If I fear God, what am I going to do? I'm going to read his word. And when I read his word, it's going to reflect back to me. If my heart is, God, show me what you need to show me. I'm going to read his word, right? I'm going to pray. I'm going to read his word. And then he's going to speak to me through his word. And then it's going to reflect back to me his image, not my own, right? Then I see something that I didn't see before. I see it in a way I never saw it before.
Right.
But if I'm always looking at God in my own image, it's not happening for me. If I fall and I make excuses for my falls, who am I really fearing? Right? If I fall and I feel shame, how do I get rid of that shame?
Fear God.
There's only one way to get rid of it. There's another way to negate it, right? The only way to get rid of it is by the blood of Christ, right? To fear God. It's his blood. But what do people do? They negate it by making excuses for it, right? I'll make an excuse. And then it becomes another excuse. Then it becomes so far, like now I'm lying straight up to myself.
Yeah.
Where I can't even see I'm wrong. How many pastors that we've seen, priests, pastors, that are getting up on that pulpit, preaching God, but then essaying children or women or you know, whatever, or even men, like, doing stuff behind the scenes. How did they get to that point?
Right.
They made a lot of excuses along the way.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Shout out to Rachel. Rachel watching.
Rachel.
We were just talking about you earlier. She said, what in tarnation is going on with his wife's lack of clothing at literally all times? And then she said, never mind. This interview answered that question.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a wife. That's not his wife anymore.
Oh, no?
Oh, wait. Sorry, the new wife.
The new wife.
I was thinking of
the new wife.
The old wife. But yeah.
He married her?
Yeah. Apparently. I mean, maybe he didn't. I don't know. He says it's his wife.
Yeah, no, they're married.
All right. Well, we that was good, man. Let's wrap it up there. It's 10:40. Over 2 hours. Shout out to everybody who's been watching. I see all of y'all still in the building, following along with this craziness. I see Theris on YouTube. Shout out to Theris. She said, "You are live." Yes, we are live. That's what we do on Tuesday. We go live.
Lisa's on here.
Oh, shout out to Lisa. What's up, Lisa? We love you.
Lisa Lopez.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Listen, these conversations need to happen. We covered a lot of stuff tonight. If you think this was something that you want to share with the public, if you want to keep this pride growing, make sure you hit that like button and share this video. That's the easiest thing for you to do. But if you want to get behind it and support what we do, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/youngliontv. You see it down there at the bottom of the screen. Sign up to become a member over there where you can, for as little as $3 a month, become a Young Lion, join the Pride, and enter into our community where we love each other, we take care of each other, we meet up, we do cool stuff. We're going to be posting exclusive content over there as well. And other than that, we have our merch available with the links in the description. Get the new Grateful merch at our Jatan website. Right now, the link is not letting you check out, but we're going to fix that. So you can look at it for now and put it in your cart, but you can't check it out. So we got the new Grateful merch available over there. Check out the new video that we just posted up as well for the Grateful music video, which is on our YouTube channel. Other than that, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for the conversation. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week, man. Peace.
Young Lion go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah.